All right, Arian, you are de facto holding the proceedings tonight. So what you'd like to do is to call the BPAC meeting to order and then state the date today and the time that we are starting.
Okay, hello. I'd like to call this meeting of the BPAC to order today, Wednesday, November 2nd at 6:06 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Can we have a roll call?
There we go. All right, certainly. Chair Macaulay has notified me that he will be absent. Vice Chair Bowen may be missing as of this point, but we'll give him time. Going down the roll, Committee Member Chang.
Present.
Committee Member Gore. Oh, I just readmitted Natalie back. Natalie, are you back? All right, we'll circle back. Committee Member Guzman.
Here.
Committee Member Hollenbeck.
Present.
And Committee Member Yip.
Here.
Natalie, are you back? We just called.
I'm back.
All right, we got you. All right. Most are accounted for, Arian.
Okay.
So, moving on. Ask if there are any agenda review items.
Now, does anyone have any agenda review items tonight?
No changes from staff, but we'll ask BPAC members if they have items that they'd like to bring up.
It looks like.
Daryl? Yes.
Oh, sorry, wrong item.
Okay.
I do not.
Sure.
Okay, so no agenda review items?
Nope, no changes to the agenda, Arian.
Okay, how about public comments? Do we have any public comments?
As of 5 p.m. today, planning staff has not received any voicemails or emails regarding anything on the agenda, but I would like to note there seems to be members of the public on the call tonight. Your name saying Raphael Kissel and Aman Noor. If you have any public comments, now would be the time to say it.
Yes, we'd love to have them.
Yeah.
Did you say Aman?
Aman, A-M-A-A-N, and then Noor, N-O-O-R, and Raphael Kissel in one word. That's
Raphael, if you have any comments, we'd love to hear them.
okay. Daryl, did you need to make a public comment or about or was that related to the items?
It was related to the items.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if the members of the public on the call tonight would like to make a statement on a specific item, then when the item is called up, then you can do so then.
Okay, great. How do we do consent calendar?
Consent calendar, just we'll read the item itself. I can do that. So approval of the regular meeting minutes from September 7, 2022, which was our last BPAC meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
I motion that we approve the meetings as minutes as written.
Okay.
Yeah, I second. Thank you for sending them in advance.
Yeah, no, of course.
I have a comment on the minutes.
Yes.
I noticed under the item on Utah Avenue 101 US Overcrossing project, I'm fine with the notes of what happened at the meeting, but I was curious about the action that says none taken, none required. It seemed like there were a lot of comments from this committee and specifically me about the environmental review process that went through that project, as well as what improvements could be made to the project if the project were to proceed. So just wondering with staff, what's the rationale for none taken, none required, and is it possible to actually do action to reflect the comments from the committee?
Sorry, so when we refer to actions taken, meaning that the BPAC would have to be approving something rather than issuing comments to related to like the environmental, like the public comment on an environmental review of a project. So when we say actions taken, it is something that BPAC votes on, like the meeting minutes or any other kind of items of that sort. So given that it was a presentation, there was no specific action that BPAC needed to take except hear the presentation. So there, you know, like any comments that come out of that meeting are recorded, and you know, and we had staff from it was a Caltrans and the city that was facilitating that, and they recorded your comments as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right, any other comments on that one? Otherwise, we'll take roll on the meeting minutes. That okay? Yeah. All right, going down the roll, Vice Chair Bowen is still out. Committee Member Chang to approve the minutes.
Approve?
Committee Member Gore.
Oh, she had already said approved.
Yeah. Committee Member Guzman.
I approve also.
Committee Member Hollenbeck.
I approve.
And Committee Member, yep,
No.
okay. All right, Arian, moving on to administrative business.
Yes, please.
So read the item. I'll read the items. Active. Oh, Natalie is having technical difficulties. No problem. So second item for you tonight is just an update on the active South City bicycle and pedestrian master plan. So back in July, we took it to Planning Commission. Frank had graciously given us time to make some comments and statements in support of our effort and to reflect all of the outreach we've done, all of the work that BPAC has done to help us move that plan forward. Now we're in, actually, happy to report, we're on our way to City Council for approval on the 9th, which is next Wednesday. So I don't know when Frank is coming back to the country. So please, BPAC members, if you are available for next week's City Council meeting on November 9th, we will have an item for the active adoption and approval of the active South City bicycle and pedestrian master plan. So if I can, I think it's a Brown Act thing. So if maybe one person from BPAC could attend and make a comment, just that would be great. So let me know if any of you are available. We'd love to have you, and and also have you there to make a public comment in support of the plan, so that City Council also gets to thank you for the work you've done on it. So yeah, November 9th, starting at 6 p.m. Adina has a hand raised.
I was wondering if folks are not able to attend the meeting, if people on the BPAC are not able to attend, would they be able to submit a, sorry, my dog is whining. Would they be able to submit a comment through, through the City Council's portal? Is that okay, Chris, or is that or is there any Brown Act issues there?
No, making written or sending in written comments won't violate Brown Act. Is that okay. I think there's always this weird issue about having two or more members of a commission present at another, at a City Council hearing, and then that constitutes as a hearing of
So will you let us know if Frank's not going, or do you want one of us to volunteer now?
I'd say I'll take volunteers now, and then we'll, oh, there's Vice Chair Bowen.
Hello, sorry I was late.
No worries.
Can you go next Wednesday to the City Council meeting and represent us? Yeah,
so the update, Vice Chair Bowen, is that we have an item at City Council to adopt and approve the Active South City Bicycle and Pedestrian Master Plan. Frank is out of the country and we're not sure if he'll be back in time for that. So we need someone from BPAC to make a public comment, kind of reflect the hard work you've done on here. So we're taking volunteers. So, and you've been volunteered.
I'm gonna be in San Francisco probably through most of the afternoon, and I don't know how much of the evening. It's not something that we can dial into at all. It's something that's like strictly physical.
Oh, no. The public comments can be virtual. Like,
Oh, okay. I might be able to do that then.
okay, yeah.
If not, if Vice Chair Bowen can't, I could possibly do it as well. So
Okay,
that's
great.
okay.
And
Perfect.
if Natalie can't do it, then I'll do it. So I
All right,
guess
we've
Chris,
got
you
alternates. That's
you got
perfect.
3 volunteers.
All right. So city clerk is still finalizing the agenda and information for council meeting next week. So once it's out, I'll send it out to BPAC so that you know. And then again, let's confirm availability with Vice Chair Bowen. And if you're not available, then Natalie. And if you're not available, Arian. So
Okay,
Okay,
I hope that
perfect.
works for you.
okay, sounds good. Thank you all.
Vice Chair Bowen, do you want to take over running the meeting?
Yeah, Frank is not present, so it's your show. Otherwise, or you could just let Arian keep doing it. You're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, yes, but letting Chris be in charge.
I'm not sure where to pick up from. Where are things? Let's see.
We're at item 3 at this point. So
Let me get my Zoom screen. It's like being weird now.
The letters Frank sent, right?
There it goes. Just looking for the screen. So we are at, you said we're at item 3?
yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So what do I do now?
Just we'll read the item. I'll do it for you. Not a problem. So item number 3 for this evening is just an FYI for BPAC that we had Chair McCauley sign 2 letters of support for 2 projects. One is the Junipero Serra Boulevard and Westboro Boulevard class 4 bike lanes. It's an infrastructure project that we're seeking funds from the San Mateo County Transportation Authority. They had a Cycle 6 bike and ped projects call for projects for funding. So the city has submitted 2 projects for that. One is for this infrastructure project to go ahead and install and restripe Junipero Serra and Westboro to include our class 4 bike lanes. We will know in December how much funding is allocated or if the project is selected. The second project that I sent in was to for a corridor study of the El Camino Real from city limit to city limit to kind of take the next step in what we've identified in Active South City and to put class 4 bike lanes along the stretch of El Camino between city limits if we can. And then to identify kind of like the what's going to be needed in terms of like engineering support, design, and where we can implement more complete streets concepts on El Camino. So that's a corridor study that was for an amount of $100,000, and I believe the Junipero Serra infrastructure project that engineering had sent in was for about like 1.5 million. So we will see in December the results of that. I am not allowed to share, but we actually got funding for all of the El Camino Real bike and ped corridor study. So we've gotten that one, and I think the Junipero Serra one was partially funded. So officially we'll know next month, but we have good news on this one. So that's what BPAC had lent its support on.
I've noticed that a lot of repaving of our streets are happening, which is a great thing. I think it really needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if there is a plan to go along with paving or adding sharrows, at least on those streets that we're working on repaving.
Yes, one of the neat little things is that with having active South City, like if you ever go into physically into the engineering offices, they have a giant map of our recommended projects, and they come to me to ask if we have something planned for a specific street, because with the repaving of a lot of our streets, they also look to implement what we have planned in active South City. So if there are sharrows planned there, they will be installed there, or any other bike, higher class or higher forms of bicycle facilities.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So any other questions on any of the administrative items we've had? Okay. Otherwise, Vice Chair, call for items from BPAC members.
Sure. Are there any items from BPAC members? I have some stuff in mind. Oh, go
That's
ahead,
it,
Daryl.
too. I'm not ready. Go ahead.
I was just curious, one of the things that I had noticed, so like my wife Sarah serves on the art committee, and they have a handful of fundraising events and things that they do to try to create funds to provide. I think in their case, I want to say it's like an art scholarship or something like that. I didn't know if there's anything that we've entertained in the long history of this. I don't know, how far back this dates, and if there's any particular things that we sort of see ourselves as being capable of organizing or contributing to, or whether there's some sort of collaboration between these, like, I don't know, just in the spirit of like wanting to be helpful to South City in general. I know I didn't know about these things until she told me that they were running them and they needed help. And I was like, oh, I mean, I don't know. So I guess just kind of like curious about kind of like at the city level, and whether we should be doing something as a committee, or there are things that we could be contributing to, like into the broader city,
Historically, at least in my tenure with BPAC, we have not engaged in any kind of like fundraising of the sort, just because things that we are involved with are very infrastructure based, like things that like bike safety projects and things like that are more capital projects rather than something that we can do.
Sure.
There is, so if anyone remembers the last time in our BPAC meeting, I said I started some stuff, and so we're part of working with Caltrans to do a complete streets. Oh, hi Greta, Dina's dog. So we're working with Caltrans District 4 on Complete Streets Academy, on the Complete Streets Academy, and I'll gather up more information now that we've had our first meeting. So I'll bring that forward to BPAC. But one of the things we could do are, when we do Complete Streets demonstrations, where we have Public Works and Engineering plant down complete streets, the Complete Streets demonstration, like putting in like soft hit posts, temporary, like delineators, things like that. That'd be something that BPAC will kind of help on, especially when we do community outreach. It's a lot of that. So there are some opportunities in the horizon, but fundraising is, I don't know if that's something we engage in.
Do we have like, have we organized any sort of community events at any point? Anything just to like, because one of the things I thought of, because I was walking in the city, I was like getting coffee somewhere, and I just saw someone had set up this booth where they had like a bunch of folks with just like trash pickers and bags, and it was just like, hey, like go walk around, pick stuff up, bring it back. We'll deal with actually dealing with getting this to like ecology or whatever. And it was one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I go on walks frequently with dogs and just around neighborhoods, and like there's a lot of garbage and stuff kind of like strewn about in various places, and always kind of thinking like, well, like, gosh, I should really go get some stuff and pick some of this up. But I'm always kind of thinking, oh yeah, especially as things are like more sizable. I know you can always hit up the there's the SSF Engage app. I forget exactly, you can like file tickets for big things, but there's like a lot of little stuff that just never really gets addressed. And I didn't know, like, I don't know, has there ever been like cleanup things that we're involved in, or are there cleanup things that are just unrelated to us?
Sure. Of course, yeah. There's like a community cleanup day, right?
Oh, really?
That happens every
Sure.
quarter, maybe.
We have in the past done a safety assessment on corridors, like the walkways and things like that around the city. And we've taken parts of the city and gone around and looked at how the sidewalks are doing and what areas might need to be addressed. So we've done that kind of thing. We've also done like some outreach at different events around the city where there are bicycle things and pedestrian things that were included in those events. We would show up for those and be invited to those. So that's what I know that we've done in the past. I think the safety assessment, the last time we did that was, I want to say about 4 years ago. So that might be something that we could take a look at doing again.
Yeah.
Got it.
Adina?
Yeah.
I was wondering if BPAC would be interested, or if there was any way to coordinate some type of event or outreach for Bike to Work Day.
Yeah.
That could be something. That's in May, I think, usually in May. So that could be, I don't know, there might be some opportunities there. The other thing I was thinking of is, over this, I mean, this already happened, but if we do something like it in the future, there could be an opportunity. When we had over the summer a big like general plan community workshop. Oh, remember, Chris, it was over at the Fernicke's building. And that's something like there could be an opportunity if BPAC members wanted to attend something like that and kind of have information about the Active South City plan or bike and ped resources in the city. Just thinking there might be some like synergistic opportunities with some of our other planning outreach events. We can definitely think, do some brainstorming, but I think Bike to Work could be a good, I mean, that feels like that's an existing organization and event that we could probably get some traction from.
Right. And events like things that typically like for Silicon Valley Bicycle Coalition that they throw on, they always want to try to have a little bit more presence up here in North County.
Yeah.
So that's something like that BPAC can host in combination with Silicon Valley Bike. Then that, of course, will help BPAC facilitate that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, just curious. Thanks.
Sure. All right.
Daryl, did you have something you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I had a follow up to my item 1 comment about the Utah Avenue roadway.
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to get an update from the city on how the city is responding to BPAC's comments, specifically my comments that I gave on the environmental impact report, and an estimated timeline for when those comments will be responded to.
Okay. Thank you for that. We'll note that down, committee member Yip, just because we're not none of the staff you have on here are actively working on that effort. And I believe that we are not, the city is actually not the lead agency for the Utah 101, like the CEQA work for the Utah Avenue. So we'll pass that on to our principal engineer, Matt Rubel, and make sure we get you a response. Now, if it comes in the form of an email, we'll make sure that you have that, and BPAC also has a copy of that. Okay.
If it will be in the form of a response to comment in the EIR document, you would get a notification of that as well. Everybody, right, Chris? Isn't that everybody who comments would get a notification of the publication of the final EIR? which would
Right.
include the response to comments document.
Yeah.
We just don't, yeah, we're just not sure of the timeline, but there, you'll definitely get a response.
Is there an opportunity for this BPAC to make a statement or a recommendation to our city council about what our thoughts on the project? Is that something that we can do here? How does that work?
I don't believe so like other commissions like for example, like the youth commission have collectively like drafted their own kind of like response letters or recommendations to council and sent it or like drafted a letter with all of them listed on it, and then transmitted that to city council on a specific item. So, but that's a very good question. Is that we've at least mine and Adina's experience, we've not had any commissions look to draft something official recommendations to council, unless it was part of a specific item. So like for a planning commission, they would recommend approval action to city council, for example, whereas BPAC would issue a recommendation on the Utah Avenue overpass project, but there is no specific item going to city council for their review. So that's sort of like where I'm kind of trying to figure out a path forward there.
Yeah, and if we were to do a letter or resolution, would that have to happen during these scheduled meetings, or could we just distribute a letter? Like how would that work?
I think at this point we would distribute a letter. Yeah.
Like virtually through outside of the meetings?
Right. Yeah.
And so that would happen through one of the committee members or through staff?
It would happen through one of the committee members, rather
And then
than,
we would pass it through you, and then you would
Mhm.
distribute? Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
I think the committee members know my strong feelings about expanding roadways in South San Francisco, and this project is one of the more expensive ways to expand roadways.
I
Well,
thought you were
only-
gonna go speak with someone about this. I mean, when we met 2 months ago, you said, I'm going to go somewhere or talk to someone. Did you
Me?
not? Yes, you, Daryl. Did you not find someone, or?
So I don't know
Because you
what,
are definitely enthusiastic about, doing the right thing. And I thought you said you were gonna go speak with someone.
yeah, actually, well, yeah, I did. I talked to Caltrans staff about implementation of the law that requires environmental impact reports to analyze projects on vehicle miles traveled and not on localized impacts, localized congestion. But Caltrans said essentially their city or their attorneys really said that there's really nothing they could do about it.
Yeah, I mean,
There might be like some kind of environmental advocacy group that would be willing to like look into that kind of cause. Because yeah, if you're asking the people that are benefiting from and implementing it, whether, of course their lawyers all advise them that it's all well and good and they found whatever, carve-outs that make it make sense. But like to the extent that you
Yeah.
feel like it's actually like problematic, you might have to seek some sort of additional party that would have a more objective view of the situation than Caltrans, because they're more than happy, I'm
Yeah.
sure, to have bigger roadways and more cars.
Yeah, Caltrans is a different beast. Definitely they have a piece of their agency that really cares about making sure that when we expand our transportation system, we expand it more sustainably. But at the same time, the bulk of Caltrans is still in supportive of solving congestion through building more roads and causing more traffic. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out all the different battles we can go through, either through the environmental impact report process or through this committee to recommend to city council, because ultimately city council will approve the city funding to go towards this project and allow this project to move forward, the Utah project. I'm just trying to measure what all my options are.
So, Daryl, from a pedestrian and bicycle point of view, are you suggesting that we not include a roadway for cars, but maybe a roadway across that highway for pedestrians and bicyclists alone? Or do you just not foresee that?
I mean, it's really about trade-offs and how expensive adding a new overpass is and what problem is that trying to solve. And if that problem is going to cause more problems through increasing more automobile traffic through that area, then that's definitely a net negative. But if it goes to bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure, I would definitely want to measure the trade-offs. It would be a very expensive project, and I think there's other areas of the city that have higher demand for bicycle and pedestrian. And so I just want to make sure that the city's spending its resources on projects that benefit the most people and not just a certain amount of cars that will be benefiting because ESTA 101 is expanding. So that said, like, I don't know if this committee would like to write a letter to city council or some other form of resolution. I don't know what we do, resolutions or committee. I would be happy to send one. That's why I asked at the beginning of this meeting for an update on the status of that, just so that we can time our efforts right. Because if we miss it, the city council might approve the project without our comments.
Chris, can you remind us, what is the city's role in this project in terms of funding and design approval?
So I believe the way it goes is that the city is working with Caltrans, and Caltrans is the environmental lead for the project, for the Utah Avenue Overpass project. And that is the reason it's that way is because of, I think, federal funding commitments that it needs to, Caltrans has to be the lead. And that's why, so the next time that that the city has to make an action would be to award funds, I believe. That's something we want to just get clarification from Matt Rubel. But as of, I mean, so far, there hasn't been any specific actions that the city has taken other than to engage in the, environmental review and develop the project, supposedly.
So can I make a suggestion that we check in with Matt, because I'm not exactly sure what the best path is, like if it makes sense for BPAC to send a letter, or if individual committee members should, like, I'm just not sure what the right process is, and we don't want to miss it. And we understand you don't want to miss it. So I think we should check in with Matt and get kind of a better understanding of where they are in process and the best way to provide comments. And then we can come back in December with that feedback. Does that make sense for the committee? Because I don't know, I just don't know, because this is not an item, as Chris explained, this is because it came to BPAC like as an informational item. Yeah. And it wasn't an action. I'm not sure what the action, I'm not sure what the action is to take right now.
I mean, from what I remember about our last meeting, it sounded as if that particular roadway was not set in stone yet, as if they were still looking for the best place to actually put the roadway. Is that correct?
Well, it seemed pretty solid to me.
No, it's a pretty defined project. If you're in if you're in environmental review of a project, it's pretty, like you've done some kind of like engineering work to kind of establish, okay, this is where we're going to have it, and then look at that specific project in the context of like its effect, the effects on the environment. And that's why you're going through environmental review. So there's some level of, like baked in
That is
where the
pretty big.
project is, yeah. So like, I think if you recall, they had, I think in all of their graphics, like Caltrans and their consultant like showed like class 2 bike lanes on there, but those details are the ones that's still going to be worked on. And for us, it's like we want, if there is to be an overpass like that, we want the highest possible like bicycle and pedestrian facilities there.
I guess the reason I thought it may not have been set, because that roadway actually would displace some current buildings that are on the east side.
Right, commercial properties on the other
Commercial,
side, right?
yeah.
Right.
So, okay.
So I
Well-
think our course of action for right now is like we'll get clarification from where they are in the process with our principal engineer. And then at no point are you, any of the BPAC members, prohibited from sending your own individual comments about this project to city council directly, because that's something that they can bring up in any city council meeting regardless of an item. Where we pause is that if you wanted BPAC as a collective to say recommend or not recommend a specific action by the city, we need that action by the city to actually be agendized, to be something that we want them to, hey, on your November 9th meeting, we oppose the active South City like bike and ped master plan. So there's like an action tied to what BPAC is collectively opposing. So that's what we don't have. So you feel free to send a letter about this to your council member or to all of council, and that way they can kind of get your concerns like noted this early. And then once there's an item on the Utah Avenue overpass, then of course BPAC can then issue their recommendation not to approve something.
Yeah, I appreciate both of those suggestions, and I like that idea. Let's figure out what the schedule is, and hopefully the project doesn't advance until we know what the schedule is, so that if we want to take action as a group, we can do that.
Sure.
Probably useful also to, I mean, because I think I'm like passingly familiar with a lot of the things that you were sort of describing about like reasons why that's not actually a helpful thing for cities, like collecting anything that sort of documents like studies that demonstrate that will probably be helpful in sort of like, demonstrating a case to them why they should have pause on this, or why they should justify why their perceived benefit outweighs the fact that this will have adverse impacts on a variety of other things. Because like, yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of like balance there they're trying to strike, but like, yeah, I mean, I think I generally agree with like the thing that you're getting at though, which is like, yeah, like it's like when they expand highways, they add another lane, it's full of traffic immediately. Like that's just how the system works. So
yeah, and
yeah.
exactly what you just said, and the fact that this project intersects with the US 101 expansion project that's happening right now, and is not being evaluated in the context of that expansion project, gives me pause on why this is happening in the first place, and the faultiness of the environmental impact report to not account for that makes it not a I don't know the word, but it's not a good faith evaluation.
Or at least ideally, there's like more transparency into if someone did ever consider that, even if it was to say, not a concern in my view, it would be helpful to have that transparency. I presume the information must be somewhere. I just don't actually have any idea where.
No, I mean, like CEQA does not allow you to like kind of hide things, right? So, like it's the CEQA lead on the project. So reason we barely have information because none of us at planning, which normally works on CEQA, is working on this. The lead CEQA lead is Caltrans. So that's why we're also stuck behind the, what they provide us. So like that's something that like you'd have to go to Caltrans to make sure you get all of the information about their process and their timelines from them.
Got it.
So
Cool,
yeah,
thanks
for
for that.
now, we'll talk to Matt, our principal engineer, who is like in interfacing with Caltrans about this project specifically. Okay. All right. Other items from BPAC members? No? Okay. Can I interject with items from staff?
Yes.
So, all right. So I would like to introduce, I don't know if she'll get on camera, but I'd like to introduce you to Kelsey Evans, the clerk for the BPAC. There you go. How are you?
Hi, Kelsey.
Hello.
So Kelsey has
Hello,
been,
everyone.
Hello.
so she has made my life and Adina's life absolutely easier. So thank you, Kelsey, for helping us out with all of our agendas and meeting minutes and all of our work that needs to be done in advance of these meetings. One thing that we wanted to make sure BPAC knows is that we're doing some administrative cleanup, the things that we have just let go because of the pandemic, but now that it's over, supposedly, we have to stick by the actual rules. So this probably affects Natalie. So the announcement is, if you have been a chair or vice chair since 2020, we need to have our meeting minutes signed by your secretary, me, and whoever is the chair or vice chair of BPAC during those meetings. So Natalie, we're going to be sending chair and vice chair for those years like copies of the meeting minutes that were approved, and I will sign them, and then you will get them through DocuSign. So just hit a button and it'll sign for you.
Okay.
Same thing with Vice Chair Bowen. Any meetings that you attended and Frank was not here, like tonight, you'll be signing off on those meeting minutes. We're gonna send Frank because he was vice chair for last year, right? So, and our good friend Amir Thagavis was out for like 9 out of the 12 months. So Vice Chair Macaulay at that time will be signing all of those meeting minutes from 2021. Okay, so just that's one announcement. So be on the lookout for that. And the second announcement is that we have a brand new website. So Kelsey, can you navigate, or do you want me to do it?
My technology isn't working the best. So if
course.
you could,
Okay.
I'm having struggles. Thank you.
I got you. All right. So Kelsey has been cleaning up our website for BPAC. One of the first things that she had to do was to migrate it away from engineering's web pages. So if I can just hang on, let me share my screen one more time. This won't take very long. Everyone see that?
Yep.
Yes, you see it.
Okay. So when you're at the South San Francisco homepage and you go to Departments and Planning Division under Economic and Community Development. So Kelsey, pipe up if I lose what I'm doing. And then we go to Commissions. We now have Bicycle and Pedestrian, or BPAC. And in the BPAC website, we have our agendas and meeting minutes all in their BPAC. They're all there in the, in recent years and any subsequent years though. So, and for transparency, even the ones from this year. Also, we have like directions to apply to the commission, but we are staffed up after Phil had joined us. And then in our in the BPAC webpage. We have our minutes, so just make sure to navigate to that. If you need to look at anything, the signed ones will be uploaded there. We will be updating this because our current pedestrian and bicycle master plans will be null and void after November 9th. And again, like we have our commissioner names and all and how to apply to be a commissioner. I know, Philip, we misspelled your name, so we'll get that corrected. We got you.
Well, thank you very much.
And the best thing ever, Kelsey was able to figure out how to put us on YouTube. So every single meeting minute videos with everyone's random ramblings, including mine, are visible to the public via YouTube. I'm not going to click on that because I don't want to see my face right now. And we're beginning to update things like resources for peds and bikes and how to contact BPAC. So thank you, Kelsey, for doing such a great job with that. And we'll share the link with BPAC after this meeting. But now we have our functioning webpage that that in full transparency in Daryl's request, agendas, meeting minutes, and our recordings for our proceedings. So from here on out, dress nicer because the public can see your how you look like on your committee meetings. So that is it for me. Kelsey, was there anything else? That was it, right?
I could not see the share screen, but I assume it looked great. No, that is it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Great. That's all, Kelsey. So thank you, Kelsey, for doing all that for us. And that's it, Chair, Vice Chair. So unless anybody else has any other items, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion we adjourn, and thank you, everyone.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
second.
Third. Thanks, everyone.
And we adjourn at, what time is it? 6:52. All right. All right. We'll see you at the next one, folks.
See you
Yeah,
next
good
month.
to see you. Have a great
Everybody.
Thanksgiving. Can't believe we're in November now. So,
Take care, y'all.
all right.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.